You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Hop on YouTube, welcome to the hood table, where we chop up local and global events vocally. You don't really wanna miss out on these conversations. Just joke a little, laugh a little, get that wine in your system, fill your glass a little. Expose current events, talk trash a little. You never know, these opinions might clash a little. They addicted to the content, got them binge watching. You don't like it, then you want invited. Bet your friends watching in the house and your job parking lot before you clocking. They don't wanna miss a second of this HT content. Everybody think they got something to say, so it's an open invitation, bring it to the table. But if you come whack, just know we ain't buying in. We gon' probably turn your back and tell you sorry, try again, Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hood Table. One more again, it's your girl back with another P. Diddy Combs court recap. Okay. You guys, please make sure you like and share the video. Come on in, come on in. And if you are new here, please support, please subscribe. Thank you to all our newest subscribers. I appreciate you guys for joining us at the Hood Table. All my hoodies, I appreciate you all my day ones, all the newbies, I appreciate you all. And you guys, we are going to get right into this court recap. Now, it has been some a lot of I don't know what it was, technical difficulties. I don't know what was going on, but where I normally get my like transcripts and stuff, I had to go somewhere else to get my transcripts. So I was like, I don't know what's going on with that site that I was using. But anyway, I did get some transcripts. Thank God there was a backup to the backup plan. Okay. So you guys make sure you come on in, like and share the video once again, please. And thank you very much. Feel free to donate to the host, which is me, of course, to the platform, to the commentary, Cash App $, the Hood Table 402, or to the super chat. Please and thank you very much. Now, you guys, I got about an hour. I hope I can wrap this up in about an hour because I do have to go to a family member, visit a family member, because there's some things going on, y'all, that I can't get into right now. But I do have to wrap this up in about an hour. So I'm hoping we can get through these transcripts. They didn't go all day, so we should be able to get through these transcripts, because I think the judge said because they were going so late, the last 2 or 3 sessions or court dates, basically the judge was like, we're going to let you guys out early today. So they did get out early, I think around like 3 or 3:30-ish. But anyway, so let's jump right into it. And of course, feel free to drop down and get your boogie on in the chat if you got anything to say about anything I read from the transcripts or anything that you would like to say about what's going on. So let's start off. Let me go over here. All right, I have to scroll all the way up on my Word document to get to the beginning. Okay, so this is Diddy recap day 20. Now, I know some people, I saw somewhere where some people were saying it's day 23, but it's actually day 20. If you take away some of the holidays and, weekend days and things like that. But anyway, today marked the conclusion of Jane Doe, which some people allegedly are saying that is 50's baby mama. But today was the conclusion, supposedly, of James Doe direct, and then it started on the cross. I don't know how long the cross is going to last though. But during yesterday's direct, she did mention 3 key points: the nature of the relationship, the events leading to his assaulting her, and his continued payment of her bills, including lawyer fees, which we talked about yesterday. We was like, why the heck is he facing life in jail? And one of the people who's set to testify him, he's still paying their bill, their rent, and also paying that person's lawyer fees. And I had just assumed that he didn't think that she was testifying. That's what I was thinking. So I don't know that because me personally, like I said yesterday, I wouldn't be paying nobody bills and paying their lawyer fees and all this woo 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 woo. And this person is testifying against me. I don't know. Or is it a setup for Diddy and his defense? Is it a setup to use her? Basically in a way to swing the jury. We shall see. We're gonna get through all these transcripts today, okay? What up, 400? How you doing, boo? But yeah, yesterday, um, we heard how basically he had became unraveled. Now, of course, we would assume that, he was in the public eye. The Cassie video had came out, the Cassie lawsuit had came out. He settled out of court $20 million for this, and then she had another lawsuit for the rape. So, of course, he was unraveling. But yeah, she testified yesterday that he was unraveling. And she said that she remembered when they were sleeping and one of his sons knocked on the door and said that something happened. And then I was just by myself. That's what the former girlfriend told a hush courtroom. Because, everybody, you can hear pins and needles when they be talking about Diddy in there, right? And so she went downstairs and could see everyone speaking amongst each other. And she said Diddy was huddled with his team and his family, and they needed a response urgently. And we do recall when Diddy made that response on his IG, seeming so sorry and pitiful and fake. Okay, fake. But yeah, so the family huddled together for a response. That hotel security video obtained by CNN was being played repeatedly on national TV. It showed Diddy kicking and beating, one of his other former romantic partners, which we all know was Cassie Ventura. Then she said they were trying to come up with some kind of sincere apology post or something regarding the video. So I'm sure his family, his publicist, his loved ones, they came up with whatever he said. I can't remember everything he said, but it was so fake. It was far from sincere. It was just something to put out there right away to try to get in front of things. But of course, that obviously didn't work. Okay. But anyway, also she had testified how she enjoyed in those sessions. She enjoyed participating in those sessions up until she realized that he was having sex with a whole lot of other people. Of course, that'll do it for you, huh? That'll do it for you. But she loved participating in, some of them were called free calls. But with her and Diddy, she claimed that they called theirs hotel nights. And she said she still loves him. She still, stands on that. She still loves him. She still looks out for him. But she said she enjoyed the attention that he would give her during those encounters. Again, up until she realized that he was treating her like this. Where the main time that they was the main, or should I say the only time damn near that they would spend time together was if she was participating in sexual acts, swanging with 2, 3, 4 men a night while he sat and watched their videotape. The other women, he was taking them out on the town. Ain't that how it was with Cassie at first? Nobody publicly knew that Diddy and Cassie was together for like 5 years. And with this Jane Doe, they were together for like 3 years. And he was out on dates with everybody else, going to events, going to reviews, going to what was I about to say? Award shows. I mean, there's all kind of shit with other people. While she was at home in her crib that he was paying $10,000 a month for. So yeah, and then we also heard how she had Ubered money to pay for some of the prostitutes, the sex workers. We should call them, right, the sex workers. Altogether he paid her like $150,000 because he was giving her 10,000 a month. She had tried to get 15K from him a month, but settled for 10,000 a month to do all that work almost every single night, which we know ain't enough money. Shit, that's barely enough money for streetwalkers. A whole month of sex for $10,000. And then we also heard how she has said that she had got really concerned about him and his drug habit. She said in the beginning when they first started dating, she thought it was just, everybody parties. Everybody takes drugs. I'm sure that's how the other women in Cassie was, because most of them testified, and people who knew them testified that they didn't use drugs before they met Diddy. They didn't drink really before they met Diddy. And then once meeting Diddy, they realized he does a lot of drugs, he does a lot of drinking, and everybody around him. So they just thought this was a party thing. That's what most people would probably think, it's a party thing. Me, myself, if I'm walking up somewhere and everybody doing crack or cocaine or whatever, I'm gonna be like, do Jesus. This ain't the place for me. First of all, I'm worried about a raid. I don't want to go to jail over what somebody else is putting up their damn nose or in their arms or whatever between their toes and their ear. I don't care. But yeah, so she said that she got really concerned because Diddy started getting like if he wasn't drinking or if he wasn't doing drugs, he would she said he would get like jaundice. He was developing jaundice. That's when your eyes be all yellow. And she said his gums were turning gray and his hands would be shaky and shit from withdrawals. Ain't that some shit? But anyway, thank you, 400, for the super chat. I appreciate it. You said day 26 still crying. Child. Is day 26 going to get on the stand? That's what I want to know. Because they made accusations over the past years too. But are they going to get on the stand? Are they going to get on the stand and testify about what he did, allegedly? How they woke up after being allegedly giving some type of horse tranquilizers? You said you hope not? Child. Where the trial stands right now, some people is like 50-50. They on the fence. They don't know if Diddy gonna win or if Diddy's gonna end up in jail for life. It seems like one day it's really going good for the prosecuting team. Then the next day, it seems like, oh, the defense got this one. Then the next day, it's like going back and forth, back and forth. But yeah, you said damn freaky puff. Freaky puff. But yeah, so we gonna get into the transcripts, y'all. Let's start it off. Now, the defense, early on in the day, the defense said, Your Honor, we moved for a mistrial. Now, remember, we talked about that the other day. That was the second time they asked for a mistrial because they were saying that Bonna and Cassie lied on the stand about the balcony incident. And we were wondering, was it going to be approved? Because they had court yesterday and they went along with court and had Jane on the stand all day. So I'm thinking, damn, maybe it takes a few days for them to decide if it's going to be a mistrial. But the defense said, Your Honor, we move for a mistrial based on Bonna's testimony, which we believe is demonstratively false and prejudices the case. Judge says, I refuse the motion and the testimony in question. The motion for a mistrial is denied. The testimony does not warrant it. So the government, they said, we request to recall our expert witness. Now, remember Dr. Hughes, I think she testified on what? Like day 3 or 4 for Cassie, to describe what Cassie was going through or why she went through it or why she stayed. So they recalled her, that expert witness, Dr. Hughes, to further testify to clarify points raised by the defense. So the judge says Dr. Hughes has already provided her testimony. I see no basis for recalling her. The motion to recall is denied. The government says they reluctantly accepts the ruling. So Diddy, as far as his appearance, they say he's sporting gray hair. We already know he has a head full of gray hair, right? What's that shit they be putting in their hair to make their hair super black? I forgot, but a lot of men use it. I guess he doesn't have access to that in jail. Go figure. What up, Tay Bay? How you doing? You said it's going to be day 26 before they stop crying. Child. You said just for men, not just for me, just for men. Okay, so they said Diddy, he's sporting gray hair. He looks like he's losing more weight. He's been allowed to wear a light color shirt, trousers, glasses. He's currently focused on the documents and tissues on the defense table. That was his appearance before court. So the cross examination begins on Jane. The judge says, please escort Jane in, then summon the jury. The jury come, all rise. The judge says, Mrs. Garagos, which is Diddy's attorney, you may begin your cross examination. Jane, we've spoken before, but you chose to stop meeting with the defense, correct? Yes, that's correct. You're testifying against Diddy, correct? Am I testifying against him? Well, how many times were you prepped for trial, for the cross examination? She said about 2 or 3 times. Did they bring in any prosecutors to practice crossing you? Yes. Jane, you were granted immunity at the grand jury, correct? Yes. You expressed regret over some choices you made with Diddy, didn't you? If you have that statement, I'd be happy to review it with you, said Jane. You chose to stay in that lifestyle with Diddy for years and didn't want to end the relationship, correct? Yes, I didn't want to. You were also involved with other men during that time? Jane says, I resented the emotional control he had over me. I was drawn in from the beginning. You said there was pressure to perform acts your lover wanted. Yes. You repeatedly called Diddy your partner during direct testimony, correct? Yes. You mentioned struggling to explain why you had sex with other men? Yes. You're currently in therapy? Yes. Do you love Diddy? I love spending time with my partner. You wanted to cuddle with him? Yes. To give him foot rubs? You said, and then the government says objection. The counsel is making herself a witness. That's what the grounds was. Jane said, I enjoyed bathing him and watching his favorite show together. And what show was that? Dateline. Imagine that. Do you think he was only doing this with you? At that time, yes. I'm sure Cassie thought so too. Did you check his messages? Yes. In those hotel rooms, he was vulnerable, and I connected with that. It was tough. I broke my own boundaries to make him feel love. So this closeness bonded you two? Yes, especially the intimacy afterwards. That's what I cherish. You aim to be sexy for him in those rooms? I believe I was next. You're a beautiful woman. Did you pick the outfits? He chose them at first. The attorney says he enjoyed baby oil. Found it arousing? Yes. The attorney says, how old were you when you began your relationship with Diddy? 35. Can you describe the fantasy talks in those rooms? He'd have me and the entertainer doing role play, like a cheating scenario where Diddy was out of town. The attorney says, how high were the heels you wore? 6 to 7 inches, though I usually wear 3 to 4. You wanted your child closer to their father? Did he see the child? Jane says, and what that got to do with this? Insert 50 cent cough cough. The attorney said, did you fly weekly to Miami to see Diddy? Sometimes. We heard 5 voice notes where Diddy sounded angry, but he sent you thousands of dollars, correct? Yes. And why did you see him as larger than life? He was a bright light. He introduced me to gospel. He also had a favorite pastor that he watched on TV. And has that stayed with you? Yes. Do you watch that pastor today? Objection, says the government. Sustained, says the judge. How much did he invest in your dress line? $20,000. And why did you start an OnlyFans account? Financial necessity. I stop if I could. The attorney says, Diddy supported you financially during the relationship over 3.5 years. Does $150,000 sound accurate? I'd say so. You told the government prosecuting team you're drawn to providers. Jane says, yes. As a woman, I appreciate that. Who don't appreciate a provider, y'all? Shoot. We like to be independent, but you know what I'm saying. We don't want no broke nigga either. Uh, the government, I mean the defense attorney says you referred to the house as our house. Jane says later I saw it as my house. Now make a note here. Jane has already testified that Diddy's love and affection led her to join the hotel nights with sex workers, breaking her own boundaries to satisfy him despite her personal struggles. Diddy's attorney goes on. When you met Diddy in 2020, you were earning money as an IG influencer, correct? Yes. And you were also receiving $4,700 a month in child support. That is correct. Once you were with Diddy, did your influencing work change? Yes. I couldn't focus on it anymore. I felt like I only reached about 10% of my earning, potential during our relationship. She said also, when I moved into the new home in April 2023, I thought if we got a place that meets Sean's taste, maybe we could just start doing the hotel nights here in the privacy of our own home. So the attorney says, so you and Diddy wanted to keep these hotel nights private? Jane says, yes, it was really important that nothing about the hotel nights got out. We didn't want the public to know or even his employees to know about the entertainers. So the attorney says, have you done hotel nights at your previous apartment? Yes, we had. The attorney says, so one of the reasons you got the house was for that? And so your son could have a yard? Jane said, could you please say my child instead? Now, this word was a lot of chitter chatter all over social media, y'all. I don't know if y'all were following today. I don't know if they were following today. No, I don't think they actually mentioned 50. I did that when I was like cough cough insert 50. I don't think they actually mentioned 50, but people were upset because the defense team was like trying to they say the defense team was trying to say who she was. That's what they were saying because they kept mentioning her child and giving her. They asked her age. They asked her child. They didn't ask like if she had a boy or girl, but they was like your son, things like that, and her age. And so people on social media was like, "Oh, that's messed up. The prosecution needs to stop this because they're revealing who the person is." She's going by Jane Doe, a pseudonym, but everybody out here is like, oh, we already know who baby mama that is. So I don't know if that was a big deal for them to say your son and your age and stuff like that. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I heard. Matter of fact, I saw somebody put on somebody had put on somebody's wall. They said somebody got their name or got that person's name. They're gonna take your pay. They said something like that, and I was like, oh, they serious about this. I heard the judge was real serious. That's why when we was on here the other day, I said we ain't gonna say her name. Say my name. Say my. No, we ain't. I ain't saying her name. But yeah, a lot of people is already alleging who she is. But anywho, so yeah, they were saying the defense was trying to dox her. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. The attorney says, I'm showing the jury some of your texts and audio messages with Diddy from March 2023, right after the Turks and Caicos trip. You testified earlier that during that trip, he surprised you with an entertainer and a hotel night, which caused an argument. Jane said, yes, it really upset me and it affected us for a few days. But in the messages you two exchanged afterward, you both sounded affectionate. Diddy told you he loved you? Yes, Jane. He said that in a voice note. He also mentioned something about a contract. What was that? Jane said he was referring to our love contract. After we agreed on it, he rented me a home for $10,000 a month. And you recorded message back to him. Would you say you sounded happy? Jane said, yes, I told him I had so much fun on the trip that I loved him and felt closer to him. You also said everything just feels good and I'm so happy. Jane said, that's right. I did have fun with him. And then Jane says, I was expressing love for the time we spent together, except for the part involving the entertainers. When I moved into my rental home in April 2023, Sean paid $40,000 upfront to cover the security deposit and the rent for the first month and the last month. The attorney says the landlord already possessed several months of rent payments in case Diddy ever decided to stop paying rent, correct? Jane says yes. And the government says, did Diddy indicate that he was also open to paying 3 more months of rent, even though you were about to break up? She said yes. Did you ever believe Diddy would stop paying your rent? Jane said there was some times that I definitely felt that he would do that, and he used it kind of like a little tool. The rent was always just like a little reminder. Can you confirm the conversation you had with Diddy regarding your financial situation? Yes, he asked me, you need 3 more months of rent, right? And I told him I was struggling a bit. And what happened after that conversation? After that conversation, Jane said I confronted him later about some things. And then out of the blue, he sent me $20K. Out of the blue, he sent her $20,000. Was this money solicited by you in any way? No, I didn't even ask for it. It was completely unsolicited. And how did you use the $20,000 that Diddy sent you? I used it to buy some nice furniture for my place. The attorney says the court heard you sent Diddy a text after receiving the money. Can you describe that message? I texted him to say thank you and called him baby. I was just grateful for the help. So to clarify, you express gratitude and use an affectionate term, correct? Yes, that's right. So she used $20,000 to buy some new furniture instead of paying rent. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. If you're struggling and can't pay your rent and somebody send you 10, 20 racks and you went out and bought some furniture, shit, if I'm struggling like that, I'll be at Aaron's or Rent a Center or somewhere like that, or somewhere where I can buy some. We got a place here called Mrs. B's Clearance Furniture Department Store. But anyway, she took that $20,000 that he sent for the rent and put it on a new couch, a bed, or something. So the court said, the attorney said, now this is Diddy's attorney doing the cross, y'all. Diddy's attorney said the court heard a voicemail from Diddy where he referred to you as a crack pipe. Can you explain what he meant by that nickname? Jane said it was just a playful thing from our trip to Turks and Caicos. We had a lot of fun and he gave me that nickname. The fuck? You let a nigga call you a crack pipe? Somebody who on drugs, all the drugs Diddy taking, and you allow him to call you a crack pipe? Man, I don't know. Ooh. See, that's why it's so hard for people to believe that these women were forced and coerced to do so much shit. It's hard to believe when you hear shit like that. Just somebody call you little crack pipe. Now it's one thing to call somebody a butthead. Because I done called plenty of people a butthead. Y'all buttheads smoking all day, motherfuckers. Y'all always hot. But a crackhead, might as well call you a meth head. Or a molly head. Or a ketamine head. Or that's crazy to me. But anyway, she said that was just a little playful nickname. Jane said, crack pipe. Well, he said he had an addiction to my text. It don't even matter, y'all. It don't even matter. He was addicted to her text. So he called her crack pipe. And she said it was mutual, just fun banner. We see how Diddy like to have fun. But anyway, the attorney says, and how did you respond to this voicemail from Diddy? Jane said, I texted him back something like, crack pipe is so real for the both of us. It's definitely mutual. I just like everything you said. I am so thankful. I had so much fun. Turks was absolutely incredible. I am so happy. The attorney says, so your response was positive, expressing gratitude and enthusiasm about the trip and the nickname. Yes, exactly. I was just happy and having fun with it. The trip was amazing, and I wanted him to know I appreciated it. The attorney says, to confirm, this exchange was lighthearted and reflected a mutual enjoyment of your time you spent together. Jane said, yeah, it was all in good fun. We were just joking around and enjoying the vibe from the trip. Now, you mentioned things changed when Diddy started spending time with young Miami. Jane says, yes, it became difficult for me about 6 months to a year after we started dating. And what made it difficult? Their relationship was very public. They posted about each other all over social media. Meanwhile, mine with him was very private. And how does that make you feel? It wasn't what I signed up for. I didn't agree to date a man who was in a public relationship with someone else. Now, keep in mind, y'all, keep in mind, she did agree to date a man who enjoyed being in an open relationship. But I guess that's okay if he cheated on her because they're not in a relationship. They're not in a monogamous relationship. But even though she knew that he liked to be open, he also liked her to fuck other people too. It was one thing to her if he cheated on her and messed with other people if it wasn't public. So she didn't mind having sex with the guys. She didn't mind him being with other people. But if he was going to entertain somebody publicly, that's where it hurt her. So that's where it hurt her. And that's why she said she enjoyed doing the things that he loved seeing her do with other men up until he started having romantic public relationships with other people. So, the attorney says you testified about a trip to Miami where you were still getting to know Diddy. Can you describe what happened during that trip? Yes, we were in Miami and he bought me a pair of shoes, a Bottega Veneta bag, and a bracelet. And during this trip, did Diddy discuss his lifestyle with you? Yes, he explained that he led a polymerase. How do you say that shit? Polymorous. He be fucking a lot of people. Basically, that's it. He led an open lifestyle, open dating lifestyle. I think it's called polyramas. But the attorney says, and how did you react to that explanation at the time? She said, at first I didn't mind. We were just getting to know each other, so it wasn't a big deal to me then. But your feelings changed over time? Yes. As I developed deeper feelings for him, it became difficult. I was feeling my man and wanted him to be mine. And you also mentioned feeling there was an imbalance in how Diddy treated you compared to his other girlfriends. Can you elaborate? Mm-hmm. Hey, Big O, how you doing? Yes, 400. He called her crack. Come on now. Come on now. You know you ain't gonna let nobody nickname you little crack pipe, especially if you ain't on crack. You ain't on cocaine. You ain't on crack, because crack is whack. I wish I would. And he probably was like, oh, it's just a, you know how they say affectionate name, a pet name, or term of endearment. Crack pipe. That is not a term of endearment. You should never call somebody that. Now, crackhead. If they are a crackhead, then you know if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. But if you ain't no crackhead, you shouldn't let nobody nickname you little crack pipe. Anyway, so Jane said, I just felt like the way he treated me wasn't the same as how he treated some of the other women he was seeing. It felt unequal. The attorney says, so to clarify, your concerns about the imbalance arose as your emotional attachment to Diddy grew. Let's talk about your first trip to Turks and Caicos. What did you observe about him? Jane said, on the flight, I noticed his hands were really shaky, his eyes and teeth looked off, and even his coloring seemed unhealthy. I could tell he wasn't taking very good care of himself. Diddy was up there having the shakes, y'all. Diddy was up there fiending. Diddy was fiending on the flight. Diddy had the shakes. Diddy was having withdrawals, y'all. She said his eyes looked all jaundiced and shit. They said, did you suggest anything to him? She said, yeah, that he considered going to rehab. She said she suggested he go to rehab in Thailand. The attorney said, so you knew early on that he was a drug addict? She said, in the beginning, I really didn't know how to label it. I just saw someone who was overdoing the partying. But later on, as our relationship went on, I started noticing a very strong pattern. I still didn't call it addiction at the time. Now I'd say he was a drug addict. But back then, I just thought he was really big party guy. Did you know if he was on any prescription medication? Well, towards the end of the relationship, I found out he was taking antidepressants. And you wanted him off drugs? Yes, I wanted him to return to his natural form. Jane said he even told me once that he was interested in trying ketamine therapy. The judge called for a break and the jurors left. Janice Combs, Diddy's sister, and two of his sons are seated in the row behind him. That's just to show you some of the people that was in the courtroom today. Y'all know Janice Combs is his mother. That's the one that they alleged, especially on that Netflix documentary, that Diddy was introduced to sex parties, orgies, swinging parties, and a lot of drug abuse, a lot of drug-induced sex parties from his mother. That his mother used to throw a lot of sex parties and drug-fueled swinging parties and things like that. That's Janice. Now, we also heard how Diddy was trying to sue Netflix over that. I don't think he won though. But yeah, that's alleged, y'all. That's alleged. And when you hear shit like that, you be like, damn, that's why that motherfucker like he is today. Shit, seeing all that sex as a little boy and probably seeing people have sex. I mean, I ain't saying they did it in front of him because that would be like child abuse, child endangerment, child, whatever you want to call it, child neglect. But he could have been peeping through a little peephole or underneath the door or hiding behind a curtain or some shit. Or he could have heard it depending on how thin their walls was. So who knows? Again, this is all alleged. All alleged. Now, the attorney, Mark Gregos, they said he was also in court, seated in one of the defense roles. He watched as his daughter, Tenny Gregos, questioned Jane. And then after they came back from the break, Diddy said Diddy was being he was conferring. He was talking to talking to. He was talking to his attorneys throughout the break. Now, afterwards, after the break, Diddy's attorney Gregos, back to the cross, said, Jane, would you agree that you willingly participated in the so-called hotel nights, aka freak offs? Jane said, at the time, yes. I felt I had to keep the relationship. But no one forced you to take part. She said, not physically, no. And you were aware that Diddy practiced a polyamorous, he slept with whoever he wanted to, lifestyle. She said, he told me early on, yes. And yet you chose to stay in the relationship for quite some time. Jane said, I did. My feelings for him grew deeper. And during this time, he supported you, like paid your rent, gave you gifts, covered expenses. Yes, he did all of that. And would you say he was kind and generous at times? Yes, he could be very generous. So your relationship, though complicated, had moments of affection and mutual agreement. Yes, it did. But that doesn't mean it didn't hurt or feel controlling. During the hotel nights, did you and Diddy spend time alone together? Yes, we usually have about 30 minutes to an hour alone before the entertainer came and sometime afterward too. And how did you feel about that alone time? I actually enjoyed it, especially when we made love. That part felt intimate. So he gave you the attention you were seeking? Yes, he gave me the affection I wanted during those nights. Was that typical of him? No, he wasn't generally that affectionate. But on those nights, he was the most affectionate. What that tell y'all? What that tell y'all? He finds more interest in his women if he can watch them have sex with other men. Now, I heard the word on the curb. Now, a lot of people have been calling Diddy gay for years, right? They've been calling Diddy gay, Diddy bi, Diddy did it, Diddy do it. They've been calling him, alleging that for years. But it's crazy because basically what we're hearing is he didn't want to have sex with her. He didn't want to fuck with her. He didn't want to be affectionate with her. Nothing like that. He did not pay any attention to her until the hotel nights, the freak offs. And he would be so aroused and so engaged and excited about the swinging and things like that then he would want her. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me to imagine somebody not wanting to even have sex with me. Like, when we heard from Cassie and when we heard from this Jane, like, if it wasn't popping off, he would be so upset with them, mad with them, hang up on them, send them horrible text messages, threatening to take their money, threatening to take their car, threatening to take their homes, unless they wanted to do the freak offs. That's like, I don't know, it's really weird. But you know what? Somebody said, and y'all let me know what y'all thought about this. Somebody said, why didn't Diddy just hire sex workers to have sex with sex workers? Why hire somebody that you're going to be fucking after the sex workers are done fucking? Why not just hire people to have sex with each other? Prostitutes to fuck each other. I Why run up in somebody after they've been fucking 2, 3, sometimes 4 men in a 24-hour period? What do y'all think about that? Like, what do y'all think the reason behind that was? Because he obviously didn't want to be with the women unless they were on that shit. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why he wouldn't just get somebody he really likes to be with and then just watch other people have sex and then y'all get off while they're having sex. Y'all fucking while they fucking. I don't know. Do that make sense? And what up, Noble? Don't that make sense? Like, I don't get it. Like, he could have gotten so much less trouble. He could have gotten so much less trouble and he probably wouldn't have to pay so much money. Like, I don't know. What up, KJ? How y'all doing? That's just something I had read on the blog somewhere. I don't know. But um she said no. He generally wasn't usually that affectionate. But on the hotel nights, the freak offs, that's when he was most affectionate. And were red lights and baby oil only used during the hotel nights? No, they were exclusive to those nights. And where else were they used? He used them during our other sexual encounters, even in his private home. And were you aware that the hotel nights were being filmed? Yes, I was okay with it. And Diddy told you the videos were just for the two of you? That's what he said. You put on a good show for him in those videos because you knew he would watch them again? Yes. Isn't it true that you enjoy rewatching the hotel night videos with Diddy? No, I did not like that part. But you still did it? Yes, it was just a part of the relationship. Something I tolerated, even if it made me uncomfortable. And then Tenny Grados tells the judge that she may pause James Cross at 3 p.m. I figured that's when they got out because I heard, when I first started the show, I told y'all I think they got out around 3 or 3:30 because the judge wanted to let them out early. But yeah, they said they was gonna stop the cross around like 3, and they'll pick up again on Wednesday and continue through Thursday. The main goal here is to complete James Cross by the end of Thursday. So Garagos goes on. Let's talk about the hotel nights. What was your understanding of why Diddy wanted them. Jane said they were driven by his desires. I labeled it as cuckold. Now, you guys, I put cuckold in the title of this show because I never knew what cuckold. I don't even think maybe I've heard of it before, but I don't think I really understood the meaning of cuckold. Do y'all know the meaning of that? Well, anyway, cuckold basically means a man being turned on by watching his woman have sex with other men. And she said that she was basically doing research one day trying to find a term for what the fuck they be doing. And she came across the term cuckold. And she said the term was spot on. And Grego said, and why did you participate? She said, out of love, I wanted to please him. And did Diddy ever explain his motivations? He liked to call it voyeurism. I use the word cuck for myself. Jane said, I also think there may have been some bi curiosity involved. Ooh, somebody was talking about that the other day. Somebody said the other day that Diddy is so into men, but he didn't want a lot of people to know. So instead of having sex with men and recording that, he would instead record his woman having sex with the man. Because remember, he would ask her to have men send pictures, like naked pictures of their penises. He would ask his women to send like naked pictures of their penises and things like that. That's what he had some of his sex partners doing. They would actually be like, okay, could you send me this? Could you send me that? I want a picture of this. Remember when they was interviewing the last partner on the stand, and she said Diddy would ask for them to send her pictures? And I'm like, I can see you having sex or you watching your girl having sex with these men, but why ask these men to send a picture of their dick? Like most people who are a swinger or they in that swinging lifestyle, they might enjoy their partner having sex with somebody else, but then it stops there and you go home and you might get freaky at home, but you don't be asking that person. That I'm sure the lady don't be like, send my man a picture of your puss or your breast. Just very, very, very just the freak level. Y'all, the freak level. But yeah. So, she said, I think there was some bi curiosity involved. Cooks can be curious, but too afraid to act on. The attorney says, did he ever stop a hotel night because you wanted to? Jane says, yes, there was a few times he ended it early when I spoke up and said I wanted to stop. The attorney says, and if you weren't comfortable with one of the men, he dismissed them, correct? Rarely. Only after I had already tried to interact with him sexually for some time. But he was responsive when you were uncomfortable? No, not readily. I had to go through the motions first before he considered letting them go. Let's talk about the 2 times you cried after a hotel night. Do you remember the first? Yes, it was early in the relationship. I cried because Sean was about to leave right after the hotel night. And when you asked him to stay with you, he changed his plans. He stayed to comfort me. And the second time you were in the shower together? Yes, somewhere in the middle of our relationship, I started crying in the shower after another hotel night. And was Diddy high on ecstasy at the time? He said he was. He told me, you're going to ruin my high, and said he was too high to see me cry. So let's go back to your earlier testimony, the hotel nights, or as you also call them, freak offs. Jane says yes. You describe these nights as being driven by Diddy, correct? That's right. But there were moments, weren't there, when you had some say in how things played out? There was a few times I voiced what I wanted or didn't want. And was it entirely without your input? No, not always. Sometimes I was able to speak up, though it didn't always change the outcome. Now let's go over your messages between you and Christina. You know, Christina Coram, you guys, as KK, Diddy's main top assistant. These were sent around the time he allegedly asked you to bring drugs to Miami, correct? Yes. You testified earlier that you had a phone conversation with Miss KK, during which she told you it will be fine to bring the drugs and even instructed you to put them in your checked luggage. Yes. But the messages read here today. They don't mention her saying anything like that, do they? No, they don't. But we spoke on the phone. She said it verbally. And when KK traveled with Diddy, did you know she flew on his private jet? I assume she did, yes, but I can't say for sure. And would you describe your relationship with her as close? Not at all. We were not close. She didn't like me. And how did that affect your relationship with Diddy? It made things hard. She was always with him. I believe she had strong opinions about me, and those opinions influenced how Sean treated me. And a judge called for a break for lunch. So, what do y'all think so far? Now, we have heard how KK, the closest person to him, they say, we heard how she might be on the stand soon. I'm not sure. I really, really hope so. I know we had talked about that, Noble, the other day. I don't know if Noble's still in here, but we had talked about was it Noble or was it no? I think it was oh my god, I can't remember who it was. I can't remember their name off the top of my head, but we had talked about who we wanted to see in court. A lot of people want to see the same people, D Rock and KK in court. KK, she's the one who was involved in that when they were trying to get the taste from the hotel, the bribery incident. She was the one who paid to get the tape. That's one of the things that's in the indictment: bribery, coercion, extortion, and she was involved in a lot of aspects. She was like the closest one to Diddy, and people claim that she knew a lot about what he was doing. People claim that she delivered drugs to the hotel, to the freak off locations, to the hotel night location. She was one, not the only. She was one. Sometimes it was his security guard. Sometimes, it was KK, his assistant, or somebody else who delivered drugs and things like that, and more baby oil. Child, you said it's Diddy and KK. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I think KK stopped working for him once the kitchen started getting too hot. I think she left after the kitchen started getting too hot. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But if she is close to Diddy, I wonder if she'll testify on the side of defense. I wonder if the prosecution is going to have her on the stand. I don't know if it's a good thing that she be on the stand at all. Somebody said that Diddy might be on the stand. And I'm like, what? I don't think that's a good idea at all either. But that's what I heard. Somebody had mentioned that he might be on the stand, and other people like, nah, let his ass stay where he's sitting because he would probably. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I don't think that's a good idea. Do y'all think Diddy should just remain sitting where he's sitting too? Because for some reason somebody had posted that today that they thought that Diddy might actually be on the stand, and people were saying why. And it was something about what the attorney said about Diddy can't wait to have his day in court, and I'm thinking, well, he's having his day in court. His day in court doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be up on the stand talking. So yeah, but anyhow, and for y'all who came in late, as far as the mistrial, the second one that Diddy filed for, the judge said denied. The judge said denied. A lot of y'all heard how Cassie and Bonna had both told the story of Diddy holding Cassie over the holding Bonna over the railing, a 17th floor patio and a balcony, and how their stories just didn't line up. It didn't even line up with what the prosecution had put in their reports. And so Diddy was like, the prosecution put them on there, knew they was lying about that balcony moment, and he filed for the second mistrial, and the judge declined that. So that's just to catch up some of y'all who are just coming in, just in case you didn't already hear. just in case you didn't hear it from somewhere else. But anyway, so excuse me, they broke for lunch. And you said he should not take the stage. Yeah, I think he shouldn't too. You said I'm trying to gauge where her testimony will be. That's what I'm trying to say too. I think if the prosecution brought her on, I think they would ask her a lot about the bribery. I think they would ask her a lot about the drug transportation, because the thing is they're trying to make it seem like Diddy's we know Diddy beat on his women. We know he's abusive, but they're trying to prove that he used his company to create a criminal enterprise. The drugs, the prostitution, the extortion, the bribery, and other things. So that's what they're trying to prove here. So if they put KK on the stand, that would just add to the proof, because she was his main top assistant. And as far as it goes with her, there has been allegations early on in the trial, like the first and second week, where people were continually saying that she was always trying to throw other people under the bus. Now, Jane testified that they did not have a good relationship, that KK did not like her at all, and it made it more difficult for her relationship with Diddy. I can believe that, because people testified that that KK always wanted to be the closest to Diddy, the closest one to Diddy. So I guess she wouldn't like lose her job or stuff like that. But we see what a lot of people did and still doing around Diddy to keep their job, to keep their employment. And what's up, Just the Facts? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys, make sure you don't forget to like and share the video on your way in, which I'm sure some of y'all did. But for those of y'all who forgot, it's just a reminder, okay? But yeah, so after the lunch break, the judge said before they went on break, Jane said Diddy used to call their freak offs the trifecta. He was Jordan, she was Kobe, and Paul the mess. Shut up. Hold up. Shut up. Let me read this again. Okay. Before they went to break, Jane said Diddy used to call their freak off sessions the trifecta. Diddy was Jordan, Jane was Kobe, and Paul, one of the prostitutes, he was Shaq. Yeah, you can't make this shit up. Anyway, so the attorney has Jane back on the stand, and the attorney says, "I'd like to revisit your messages from around Halloween 2021. Do you recall texting Diddy that you wanted to see him?" Jane said, "Yes, I do." And he replied that he'd had a rough day and wanted you to lead tonight. She said, "That is correct." And you responded by saying, "The two of you freshen up, have a drink, and see where the night goes." Yes, that's correct. And did Diddy mention he didn't feel like being around people? He did. And the two of you ended up having what you refer to as a hotel night after those text messages. Yes, we did. Now, the next day, you text someone named Sly asking for explicit videos. Is that correct? Yes, I was with him at the time. He asked me to reach out to Sly for those videos. The attorney said a few days later, you text Sly again, this time saying I'll organize and about a visit. Yes, we were still together trying to plan when we might see Sly. You mentioned earlier that you were pursuing a modeling career. Can you tell the court a bit about that? I did some modeling, yes, mostly commercial work. Thank you. Now I want you to turn your attention to a series of text messages. These were exchanges between you and Diddy and an adult performer named Cabral. Do you recall those? Yes. These messages include sexually explicit content, correct? Yes, they did. Jane, let's turn to the text message between you and Diddy from November 2021. Do you recall planning to see each other? Yes, I remember. And in those texts, Diddy asked you to be explicit, correct? That's right. And in response, you sent him sexually graphic messages involving yourself, Diddy, and someone you refer to as an entertainer. Yes, because that's what he wanted. That's how he liked to communicate. You both exchanged a series of these fantasy messages. Eventually, Diddy asked what you wanted to do, and how did you respond? I said I wanted to spend time with my favorite person. After that, did he ask if you wanted him to come with an entertainer? She said yes. Did you agree with that? I did because that was the only option I was given, and I wanted to see the one I loved. The attorney says, Jane, I'm now going to read aloud a message you sent to Diddy. I want to sit on your face. Do you recall sending that? Yes, I do. And can you explain the context of that message? It was a part of our sexual exchange. That kind of talk, was expected. The attorney says, and in these messages, you also used the water drop emoji several times. What did that emoji suggest? She said it meant to suggest sexual arousal or desire. It was part of the way that we communicate. Now, that attorney know what that means. Everybody know what the splash emoji means. The blue water splash emoji. Child, child, that means somebody trying to be wet or soaking or trying to make it rain or. But yeah, the attorney said what does that mean? Like, okay. Anyway, Jane says in several of these messages, the attorney says, Jane, in several of these messages, you describe in detail what you would do to the entertainers. And if Diddy hired, them for the so-called freak offs. Do you recall those text messages? Yes, I do. And were your actual desires at the time? Was that what you were actually desiring at the time? Jane says, no, those were things that wouldn't have occurred to me on my own. Then why did you send them? Because that's what he wanted to hear. I was giving him an option. She said, because I was giving him, that was the only option I was given. And so basically, they said, she was trying to please him. She said it wasn't about what I wanted, it was about keeping his interest. And so then the attorney says, Jane, let's talk about one of the more graphic messages you sent to Diddy. You initiated the exchange, correct? And they said, Jane paused, visibly uneasy. And she said, before I answer, I want to say this. This wasn't who I naturally am. She said, this isn't who I naturally is. None of them were actually. None of them really used drugs. None of them really drunk alcohol. None of them normally would swing or have orgies or, had an open lifestyle or, have sex with prostitutes. That's just not something that normal people do. But yeah, she told the attorney that wasn't who I naturally am. The attorney said, go on. I felt like I had to speak that way. I needed to keep him happy. I am, in 2021, very madly in love and wanted to please him and appease him. The attorney says, so this message, it wasn't about your own desire. No, I was being agreeable. That's what he liked, so I adapted. Jane, you offered to buy Black Matrix underwear for Diddy, correct? Yes, to please him. I knew it was something he liked. So you knew that kind of language, that kind of gesture turned him on? Hold up, what the hell is Black Matrix underwear? Let me look that up, you guys. Hold up, Black Matrix underwear. Huh. Black Matrix underwear. This looks like, huh. Let me see here, y'all. Okay, I'm not coming up with nothing. I'm on the website looking up black matrix underwear. Is it like a no? You know what? Anyway, I'll look it up or I'll look it up later. I'll look it up later. But anyway, I never heard of that black matrix underwear. Is it just a brand or is it something else? Anyway, so Jane said yes, she bought it to please him. I knew it was something he liked. The attorney says, so you knew what kind of language that kind of gesture turned him on. Yes, but it wasn't really it wasn't real intimacy. It was just what he expected from me. So basically, this was like a game. That's what it sounds like. She knew that he liked her talking sexy, sending sexy texts, sending sexy pics, talking sexy. That's what he wanted. He always wanted to hear her talking sexy. So it sounded like even though she might not really have even wanted to send certain messages or talk a certain way, that she just did that because it appeased him and maybe turned him on like 25/8. Sound like the dude had to be turned on all the time. I mean, sex parties all the time, freak offs, hotel nights. Like if he wasn't having sex, he was watching sex. And if he wasn't watching it live, then the videos that he recorded, they would watch later. So it seemed like his whole life. I mean, how do you even have time for your family, your kids, your loved ones? I don't even he had to have some good people working underneath him to still be able to maintain his company, to maintain being rich, because it seemed like his whole life was sex and drugs. Mm. But anyway, she said it wasn't real intimacy. It was just what he wanted to hear from her. Did he often offer you one-on-one time? Rarely. Most of the time, the option he gave me was him and Paul. And when you agreed to that, yes, I did because I wanted to see him. Meeting with an escort was my only option. I wanted to see my lover. In some of the later messages, you brought up the idea of attending sex parties, correct? Yes. And why did you initiate that? Sean had been telling me about them. He said we should go to one. So this was your idea or his? It was his. I was just giving him options, saying what I thought he wanted to hear. Did you and Diddy discuss hiring escorts like Don and Cabral? Yes, he often brought them up. In fact, you reminded him that he wanted to save Cabral for a grand finale. You called it a showstopper. Big boom, game over situation, didn't you? Child, game over. Like her ass gonna be tapped out for the rest of the night. After 2, 3 guys, hey, you better bring in the Cabral. Jane said, yes, I was trying to delay it, just making excuses to get out of something he was pushing me to do. Let's talk about the voice messages for November 22, 2021. Diddy told you the last vision we had included Don and Sly, the entertainers you use frequently. Jane said, that's what he said. And you replied, suggesting he wait until after the album dropped. Why? Jane said, like I said, I didn't want to go through with it. I thought if I played along and pushed it down the line, he'd drop it. But later, you saw on social media that he was with another woman. Yes, he told me he wanted me to see. But there she was, posting with him. The attorney says, and in your text messages, you expressed frustration. Yes. You also said he pressured you for hotel vibes with Don and Sly, but spent that time with someone else, someone he brought a Chanel bag for. Jane says, exactly. I gave in to the things I didn't want with strangers and still didn't get the same care or treatment. Jane, Diddy gifted you a Van Cleef necklace and a Bottega Veneta bag, didn't he? Yes, he did. How much do Bottega bags usually cost? Jane, she paused. She's pausing. Then sharply she said, how much does my body cost? I know, Jane. ain't getting slick with the mouth on the stand, y'all. I know she ain't. Hold up now. Hold up now. She said, how much does my body cost? That's a good question, Jane, because of the simple fact that he's only paying you $10,000 a month. In the 3 years that y'all were together, he only paid $120,000 a year for your home. $120,000. Some regular folk make that much in a year, and they ain't got to sell their body to 2, 3, 4 men every night. So how much does your body really cost, Jane? Because you sound kind of cheap. The attorney didn't say all that. That's just me ad-libbing. But anyway, the judge says, Jane, please answer the questions as asked. So the attorney says again, how much does a Bottega bag run? Jane said about $1,500 to $5,000 depending on the bag. And the attorney says, and do you know how much a Chanel bag costs? Jane says, no. Then she quietly says, I would like a break. So the judge says, we'll take a brief recess. Is she about to go look up how much a Chanel bag costs? Oh. See, you see what the defense is trying to do. The defense is trying to prove that Jane enjoyed doing what she was doing. She was getting bags, she was getting gifts, she was getting jewelry, all this kind of stuff. And then she had the nerve to say, how much does my body cost? Everybody on the internet, including allegedly her baby daddy, is talking shit about how cheap she's charging for her body. But anywho, after the little break that Jane asked for, the attorney says, Mrs. Jane, earlier you testified that your current home is quite different from where you used to live. Can you remind the court how large is your current residence? She said it's about 5,300 square feet, much larger than my apartment, which was 1,400. Ooh, that's a nice size. 5,300 is definitely a nice size for a house. What's that about? This is me talking, y'all. That's about what, like maybe six bedrooms, 3.5 baths, maybe. Does that sound right, y'all? That sounds pretty big. Mine is like 1,750, 3-bed, 3-bath. So 5,300, that's way bigger than what I can afford. So they probably had like 6 bathrooms, probably 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 5,300. That's a lot of square feet, especially for somebody who only getting like, what was she getting? She was getting 10,000 a month for Diddy. And then she said she was doing that's right, she was doing OnlyFans. She said she really wasn't getting too much money from the IG because Diddy was taking up more of her time. But yeah, $5,300 house, that ain't cheap, child. But anywho, the attorney goes on to say, and one of your businesses that was started with a $23,000 investment from Diddy, right? Oh yeah, that was her dress business. I guess she makes dresses or something like that. But anyway, Diddy did give her $20,000 for that, y'all. Jane said, yes, that's correct. And he never asked for a share of the profits. No, he didn't. Now, the attorney says, yet earlier you said you weren't able to do anything professionally during your relationship with Diddy. Is that still your position? Yes. Had I not dove headstrong into that relationship, I probably would have been a bit more successful in that time frame. The attorney says, so the relationship held you back? Jane says, yes, in many ways. Had I not dove headstrong in a relationship, I probably would have been a bit more successful in that time frame. But that's neither here nor there. That's what Jane said. So the court adjourned after all that. Jane is going to be back on the stand tomorrow. The judge sub says court will resume at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that'll be 12 p.m. my time, Central Standard Time. I'm assuming that he's giving them a break, letting them come in late because of the fact that, bye, son, leave. Assuming, what What you do? The chair a little too close. Oh, like I thought my son knocked his head on the door or something. But anyway, he about to go out with his girl. He smell all good. I smell cologne all through the house, child. Anyway, so yeah, court is adjourned. They said it was going to resume at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Probably letting the letting the jury sleep in late or something like that, because I didn't hear or see anything special that was going on. We know that the mistrial was thrown out, so I don't know what other reason they would be starting late. But that's pretty late. I think the latest they ever started since the trial ended was like 11:30. Child, this boy trying to take me out with this cologne. But I tell y'all, the whole house smell like cologne. I'm gonna have to open some windows when I get off of here. I think it's because he sprayed it right. He was like, I'm sitting on the couch, right? You know, I'll be in my office all day while I'm working. And my butt be getting tired. My butt be sore after sitting in that computer chair all day. Even though the chair is pretty comfortable, it's one of those gamer chairs. But still, you know, hey, I'm wide on all outside. So I like to sit on the couch in the evening when I do my little reviews. But so he came running out of his bedroom and he put his stuff down on the couch and just started spraying. So I'm up here like, ooh, it smells good, but damn, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Lord have mercy. Child. Mm-mm-mm. I'm up here sipping on some water. But anyway, before I pass out from this strong cologne, which smells really good, by the way. I think he just sprayed too much. Ooh, in front of me. But anyway, that was the recap. That black matrix underwear. I'm looking at pictures on, what is this? Amazon? I'm looking at pictures of the black matrix on Amazon and I'm trying to figure out why they call them that. Like, is it something specific? Let me type this in here. Uh, Black matrix. I don't know. I type in matrix and it's just bringing up other stuff, but it's bringing up underwear, but they're not called black matrix underwear. The shit that I'm seeing. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I found them. Okay, so I guess it's just a brand name. This one says Boggy Jersey Boxers. And it got Matrix around the whoever this male model is. She sure wearing them boxers. I have to say so myself. But yeah, okay, so it looks like maybe it's the way that the boxers are shaped. Huh. Any of y'all men in the chat wear Matrix boxers? Mm. Anyway, y'all. So yeah, she likes to buy him Matrix underwear because Diddy likes to wear Matrix underwear. I thought it was, I don't know, maybe there was something really special about them. But I guess it's like a mesh, like mesh boxers, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not a man. I don't know. I just wear undies. I just wear underoos, underwear. Ain't wore no bikinis or nothing like that in quite a long time because them things are very, very ooh. I don't know how women still wear them damn bikini drawers. That shit will have your shit on fire by the end of the day, especially if you wear them with some jeans. Ooh, yo, cuckoo. Anywho, I know y'all men like to see that type of shit. And I know women like to wear that shit, especially in the summertime when they wearing their little dresses and stuff. And they, don't want the panty line showing through the dresses and stuff. But fuck that shit. I gave up on them damn things a long time ago. Maybe because I had too much ass. Too much ass for that little strip of grass. Hey Nick, what's up? You said Jane accounts financial dependence, drug use, emotional manipulation underscore the government's effort to prove a pattern. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Just the facts. I'm like, damn. She basically was making it seem like, especially when she asked the defense, how much is my body worth? I know the court and everybody in the courtroom was like, damn. You trying to say that he gotta throw you gifts and he gotta do this and gotta do that because your body is worth something. So did you do it for the money? Did you really do it because you loved him? Did you do it because you felt you have to do it? Which one is it? Now this one right here, nigga, this one right here, I don't know. I don't know. I was pretty much believing a lot of shit from a lot of the people up until this point. This one, I don't know. I don't know. Because so far, she hasn't. I mean, people were saying the other day, well, damn, who you think was done worse? Her or Diddy? And the other day we was like her. But that was when she was on the prosecution. When she was when they was on the direct. And now that she's on the cross, it seemed like the tables have turned. Like she's giving a whole different description of their relationship. And I know this is not gonna work in the prosecuting team work to their you know, you know what I'm trying to say. You said if someone is manipulated, threatened, or pressured into doing something, especially through fear or harm, that's coercion, and it makes any supposed consent invalid under the law. Jane was coerced. I feel like Jane. I don't know. Again, see, I'm mm. On the first few days when she was interviewed by the prosecutors. I really felt strongly about that. But today, especially when she was like, but that's neither here nor there. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Mm-mm. Well, we got another day with her. I don't know how long she's going to be on the cross tomorrow. I don't know how long she's going to be because, when it comes time for the direct, the redirect, the recross, the redirects, and all that shit, I don't know how much longer she's going to be on there. But if she keeps sitting up there with this attitude like, my body is worth it. I'm worth 20 a month. I'm worth 10 a month. I'm worth Birkin bags and Chanel bags. And that's my body. You're going to pay for my body. To some people, that's not giving coercion. Now, what I can say is, just like the rest of the women, that Diddy seems to like having sex only with women when he can see them having sex with a man. I can't say that. It does sound like that it seemed like Diddy wouldn't even fuck none of these women if they didn't have sex with a man first, which is the weirdest shit to me. Like I said, that's the weirdest shit to me. Like you don't want to have no sexual relationship with your woman until she's getting dicked down by somebody else first. And then you come in, all right, coach, tag me in, coach, tag me in at the end of the game. That is like really weird to me. Mm-mm-mm. You said if Jane wanted money, she would have filed a civil lawsuit. She hasn't yet, so I find it difficult to say money is the motive. Did she not file a lawsuit? I can't remember, child. So many of them filed a lawsuit. But I wouldn't say that necessarily. No. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say that at all. Mm-mm. I'm just going off of her testimony today. And it just seems like I don't know. It don't seem like put it this way, it don't seem like it took much. It don't seem like it took much. It seemed like it took a few bags, a little jewelry here and there, for her to do what she was doing. I don't see coercion. Now tomorrow I might see it again. The first day I was more on her side. Today I'm not really on her side. And that's just me. That's just me. I mean, she's been a little slick at the mouth and shit. Sitting up there all like, I don't know. She gave me bad bitch. She gave me bad bitch, or should I say wanna be bad bitch vibes today. Like, yeah, I had sex with him. But yeah, how much is it worth? I don't know. I don't know, child. Mm-mm. I don't know. Oh, and you know what? As far as the link, I'm sorry, just the facts. I had told y'all at the beginning of the show, you wasn't here though. I was trying to get out of here an hour into the show because I do have to go to a family function and I'm already late. I'm already late. My son just ran off out of here and I was supposed to run off behind him. But I'm so behind time. I'm so behind time. But I promise you just the facts. I promise you, if you show up tomorrow, I don't know what your plans are today, if you got to work tomorrow around this time or not, but I promise you I'll drop the link tomorrow. But today something is going on with one of my cousins, and I told her I would be there, and I'm already late. I'm already late. I'm surprised she ain't text me again uh, by now. So anyway, like I said, I can't get into it. It's kind of emergency, but I'm just waiting for them to say okay. So yeah, I can't get into it right now, but yeah, it's a family matter. It's a family matter. But yeah, so I'm gonna all right, you said tomorrow's fine. Okay, awesome. Okay, so you guys, yeah, I'm gonna get off of here. I just realized it's been an hour and a half. I didn't realize I've been on here that long. But yeah, I'm gonna get off of here. We shall reconvene tomorrow. Same time, same bad channel. About between 4 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be back tomorrow to review another day, do another recap of the Diddy trial and the transcripts with you guys. So if you haven't already, on your way out, please make sure you like and share the video. Subscribe to the Hood Table if you happen to be new here. Please feel free to follow me on my other platforms. The Hood Table is everywhere from TikTok to IG and so forth. But yes, if you want to donate to the commentary, $ the Hood Table 402 Cash App, Super Chat on the Super Chat. I appreciate the Super Chats. I appreciate all the Cash Apps, you guys, all the support, the likes, the shares, the clicks, the views, the support. I appreciate you guys all the time, all my hoodies. I appreciate you guys. My day ones, my OGs, my triple OGs, and the newbies. I appreciate you guys. And on that note, stay safe, be blessed, remain vigilant at all times, and always remember to keep it hood. I'm out. Bye. Love you guys.